Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was the Monkey King's son Wukong, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs over the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct. I indeed have 3 more channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. So without further ado or wasting any more time, don't forget to turn on the bell notification. How about we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. So the last time we left off, Naruto obliterated Yagura and his forces like it was nothing, as he took down a Jinchuriki all by himself, showing the might and strength that he possessed and that he was no one to be messed with. Mei so found out what he wanted for a reward. He wanted the best delicacy within the land, so she got him all the top chefs that they had. Now, with things more free, they could get ingredients. And so far he seemed to be rather, well, okay with it. However, Mei was a quick thinker, realizing that this one person had a global scale effect with his power alone. So she decided to hire him for a couple of missions while she got her village back together. She wanted him to retrieve all the legendary blades and also bring back a few of the members if possible, as she handed him a scroll of information on each of them and the weapons as well. Naruto took it as he went off, as he was rather excited to face off against these dangerous swordsmen. Having knowledge of all concept of weapons, Naruto was rather interested. Making his way, he came across Utakata once again. Utakata was speechless when Naruto informed him that he ended the war, as he was having a hard time understanding how that was possible after all. He had just recently headed to the location. That should not be possible, as Naruto spoke about Mei, finding the woman rather honorable despite his strength. She stand up tall, ready to defend her village. It gave Utakata a lot of new perspective to think about, perhaps going back to the village. However, his return was none of Naruto's concern, so he left it be. It was soon after that Naruto headed out. It took him some time, unfortunately. His first opponent was closer than he thought, and he made his way so far not knowing that Zabuza was nearby. Zabuza was facing off against Team 7, Sakura, Sasuke and Sai, as the members were fighting on the bridge. Upon arriving, Naruto showed up. His mere presence alone caused all the battle to cease. Zabuza was ready to go down fighting though, until Naruto grabbed Kakashi's hand, stopping the lightning attack like it was nothing. Soon after, the copy ninja recognized who Naruto was, startled and shocked though, as he couldn't believe it, because Naruto was supposed to be the same age as Sasuke. However, look at him now. Soon after, Gato and his people arrived, having kidnapped Tsunami and Inari. Naruto decided to do them a favor. Using speed beyond their eyes, he rescued the two of them. That is when he exhaled so much force that It caused a literal tornado. He rubbed his hand together, conjuring flames. The flaming tornado swallowed all of Gato and his men, reducing them to ash. He then put Zabuza and Haku to sleep and grabbed them before he jumped as he cleared the entire ocean. After laughing in Kakashi's face after all, when Kakashi said that he was going to take him back. The copy ninja had returned back to the village and reported in, telling Hiruzen everything that took place. It seems like Jiraiya was closer, yet it seems like it was harder to find Naruto. Soon after that, as Naruto returned back to the village, Mei lived up to her promise and brought him a great feast. Once again he headed out. Naruto faced off against Reiga, who lost himself in rage after losing the most important person to him, a young boy that gave his life to make sure Reiga survived. However, Reiga's most powerful attack barely hurt Naruto, as Naruto split the heavens and obliterated the entire mountain. He tended to hold back his strength, yet his strength was just so overwhelmingly powerful that it was truly incredible. As Naruto brought back the twin Kiba blades before heading out once again, his journey for the final member Kisame took him on a stroll, as he heard some things about the land of wind. The place was filled with nothing but sand though, as he found nothing there. That was until he came across a rather surprising scene. It was Orochimaru of the Chunin, as he was in the process of killing the Kazekage. Naruto turned into a small fly and listening on the conversation before hearing about their attack on his home village. He found the challenging rather fun. After all, to take down a village like that, this man would need an army, and Naruto was looking forward to testing his strength and see just how powerful the Chunin was. Naruto allowed Jiraiya to catch up with him, knowing that the man was following him. The Chunin decided to take Naruto down by force and then bring him back. However, Jiraiya lost the battle rather easily. Granted, he didn't go all out, but still, Naruto's strength was just that ridiculous. As Naruto informed him that he would be coming back after all, he wanted to take part in the invasion. The Chunin was shocked to what he heard, talking about Orochimaru and what was going on. While that was going on, the Akatsuki had been gathered. Sasori got information that there was someone after Kisame. It was the one known as Son Naruto, a very powerful S-rank ninja that they had wanted a part of the organization, but they were unable to apprehend him, as they were going to use Kisame to draw him out. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check for yourself. So we jump right into this brand new episode. Let us begin now guys. A lot has been going on in Konoha, starting from the Chunin exams. People from all over entering the village. The first two phases of the exams had made their way off. The finals was set. It was coming around any time now. Everyone was given time off to train and prepared to show the best they could do within the exams. Izumo and Katetsu were at the gate, the Chunin guards. They were on alert after all. They had to make sure everyone that entered the village was properly scanned and entered without any problems. Many might try to use this opportunity to enter and hide away within the village to either assassinate or do something rather horrendous. So they had to be on alert. However, if not them, there were envoys set up all over the forest outside the village, there to watch and keep an eye on anyone. Unfortunately, they had no chance of stopping what was coming. There were two sensors with each group. One, the efficient top-class sensor, the other one, not as good as the first. The first group to pick up on this was Bear. Immediately, Falcon. He snapped his gaze into the heavens, along with a younger recruit that was nearby. The both of them were shocked, causing Bear and the other one to turn towards them. What is it? Is there something there? They looked up as they tried to see. Unfortunately though, they could not see exactly what it was. Whatever it was above the clouds. However, this thing, because there was no way that was a person, had this overwhelming sensation. And it felt relaxed, like it was not even trying to give itself away. There was a presence that they just could not describe. It did not feel like chakra. However, it was so overwhelming. Given the height that he had jumped from, and the distance, the amount of force that he came down with should have obliterated the gate and everything in between. However, when his feet touched the ground, he cancelled out every single amount of force, just to show the extreme control he had over his own strength. As he cancelled it out with ease, landed softly on his bare feet. While the top of his feet might be covered, the bottom was never covered. Immediately, Izumo and Katetsu got out of their boots. They both, one on right, one on the left. Identify yourself, Izumo said. However, Naruto looked beyond the both of them. His gaze, able to take in a large percentage of Konoha from where he stood, just to show how remarkable those eyes were. Despite not being a dojutsu like the Rinnegan, Sharingan, or the Byakugan, they possess drastic features and drastic abilities as well. It seems this place hasn't changed that much. Beer and his squad had called in to the groups nearby, so it did not take too long for Naruto to be surrounded. Izumo and Katetsu looking at each other before noticing that they were all surrounded. It seems whatever this was bigger than they thought. Unfortunately though, causing a widespread panic, and a battle here would not be good. On the other hand, Naruto smiled as he looked at each and every one of them, wanting to see if they had let themselves slack over the past couple of years. As he reached up towards his ear, the ground shook as everyone turned their gaze. A massive toad was hopping towards the village. Soon, leaping off the toad and arriving Jiraiya intercept anything from happening, immediately raising both of his hands for them to stop. His gaze snapped towards Naruto. This is not the place or the time, he said. My action was beneficial to your village. I just wanted to see if the strength has wavered over time. It would have been disappointed if it has. You need not worry. I do not desire any of their life, so it shall be spared. That's not the reason, said Jiraiya, fighting right here, in front of everyone, right at the entrance of the village. Are you crazy, he asks. I am more sane than anyone that you've ever met, Naruto said to him. However, I will test my theory another time. With that, Naruto simply walked, Jiraiya having to tell them that the both of them were here together, that there was no need for them to draw their weapons. Master Jiraiya, Izumo said. Who is he? The Sannin released a breath. A very troublesome person, he said, having spent the past few years looking for him. And the moment he said that he was going to come back, he ditched them by simply jumping. The Sannin had been baffled when Naruto jumped to the direction of Konoha. He cleared the goddamn clouds. The only way that he could keep up, yet still he took some time to get here. He had to summon a toad, using their expert hopping skills to get close enough. As Naruto was walking through the village, people were looking his way. Maybe it was the armor that he was wearing. Not everyone was in an armor after all. When you took a greater look at things, he was the only one wearing one. As Jiraiya finally caught up, come on, he said. We're heading towards the tower. Naruto simply obliged as they made their way. People looking their way and Naruto looking back towards them. No one would recognize him from when he was younger. He was never really in the public eye either way. And now, that boy that they would have known that would have turned 12 or 13. There he stood as an adult, with a full set of beard, as the markings on his cheeks were not that visible if you stood a distance away. You had to get really close. The both of them made their way towards the tower. Upon knocking on the door, the voice came in for them to enter, and they did. Seated in his chair was Hiruzen Saratobi, having received information that there was a possible threat nearby, before being told that there was Jiraiya of the Sannin as well. It gave him the confirmation that he needed, as he didn't expect this. Given how long Naruto has been evading Jiraiya, for him to suddenly show up like this, he had a feeling that not everything was alright. Naruto Hiruzen said, being the first to speak. It's been a while. Yes, it has, said Naruto as he stepped in fully. It seems much has not changed during my absence. You're correct about that. However, you on the other hand, yes, my features and my physical form, they have grown beyond the normal human proportions. However, you were there when I was a child. You should know more than anyone else that I am not your standard human being. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes. I always knew there was something special about you, and now I have all the evidence, looking at me right in the face, as Naruto sat down on the couch. You've sent this one after me for the past couple of years. I distinctly remember letting you know upon my leaving that the confines of this place does not suit me rather well, so I left. You could have saved a lot of time and a lot of manpower and not worry about me. I was perfectly safe and fine out there, as you can see, and I'm sure that you've seen in the bingo book and all the articles about my growth and my name being on many people's tongues, said Naruto. Yes, that is correct. You've done some rather underhanded deeds. I heard about your altercation with the daimyo. Jiraiya stood there taking all of this in. That was a misunderstanding, but it has proven to be rather beneficial for me. What exactly do you mean, said Hiruzen. I was hired, said Naruto. It was before my name was placed in that book. They were a big part of that. It seems that my efforts in a nearby town, taking out a squad of bandits, which was just a walk in the park, attracted a rather influential person I was hired to protect. He told me that there would be powerful enemies coming for his life. The moment he said his words, I knew that it was lies, but my curiosity got the better of me. It turns out that it was a trick. I was used as a pawn. His cousin, the leader and the daimyo, fell at his hands. Well, not his. He was too much of a coward to take his life. His people's hands. And I was left there standing. I found it rather hilarious as he said, the same killers after me. I slaughtered them one by one, plucking them from piece to piece. I decided to indulge myself for my mission that he was going to give me by taking a lot of his gold and gems. So I suppose part of it was true. However, the part about me slaughtering 2 daimyos and their family was all a lie. However, as I said, it's been beneficial. There has been so many enemies coming after me. Time and time again, I have gotten to test my strength against some powerful assassins. Not to mention my name has reached new heights because of this. That's the only reason why he and his people are still drawing breath, because he has brought me a lot of entertainment. Both men were rather shocked by what Naruto had said. The fact that all of this was placed on him, and yet he enjoyed it because he wanted to fight. However, that is not what I'm here for, said Naruto as he got up. My latest visit, to try and draw out a powerful member, I came across Orochimaru of the Sannin. I saw him and another strike down the Kazekage, the leader of the Sen. I overheard their conversation. He's planning to use the Kazekage as a disguise to enter the village and rain havoc and destruction upon it with two teams under his disposal: the confused sand ninjas and the land of sound. It sounded rather entertaining, so I decided to return and take part in this upcoming battle. I did promise myself I would return here someday. It seems like today is the day. However, this won't happen until a couple of days at the so-called finals of the Chunin exams. And that is when I will return, said Naruto, catching the attention of both men. Even more, you can use this information as a good courtesy on my part to gather your people and be prepared. However, I will be the one that will be fighting the Sannin, unlike this one behind me. He's not going to hold back. More importantly, the things that he's done over the years, I can only imagine how much stronger he has gotten by using underhanded ways. Until then though, Naruto said as he got to his feet fully, as he was hunching and moving when he walked. Hiruzen got out of his chair. We've been searching for you for the longest time now. It was Jiraiya that spoke, with the sole intention of bringing you home, because this is your home. You've been on the road for long enough. You've had your fun. You've done what you've done. However, it's best if we clear your name and get you out of this situation. Yes, exactly what I was about to say, Hiruzen said. There's a lot of people that are willing to take your head out there. Despite your enjoyment of a good battle, your life is in constant danger. I know that you've gotten strong, however, it's only a matter of time before more powerful people start to target you, and that will cost you your life. Naruto burst out laughing right there and then, as he wasn't taking them serious one bit. Now that would be a true testament of what that man did for me, giving me strong opponents to fight on a daily basis. I truly wish that the situation turned as you say. However, I've told you this before. This place is not a place that I shall remain forever. It is too confined. It is too restrictive. I intend to search the entire globe for all the powerful warriors. Upon defeating and proving that I am the mightiest of this entire planet, I will seek powerful warriors elsewhere to test my might and to test my strength. That's enough, Naruto, Hiruzen said. That is not going to happen. Once again, Naruto chuckled. A much smaller chuckle as he simply looked at the man. I respect you, Naruto said, looking at him. Despite what you've heard, despite knowing the rumors, and despite the fact that I've defeated this one behind me twice now, you believe that there is a single soul in this village that could keep me here. Naruto turned his gaze towards Jiraiya. He held both of his hands out. The secret art of Fuin Jutsu. I've come across a lot of that during my travels. I've heard about you're expert in that art. Go ahead. Try and restrain me, said Naruto. Jiraiya narrowed his gaze. I will give you one free shot. After all, the only way to keep me here is to best me in a duel, which I promise you that none of you can do. The other is to restrain me by using a sealing art. The Sannin was immediately tempted to do as he said, despite Hiruzen stepping in. The earlier defeat not to mention, he was curious to see just how powerful Naruto has gotten, and just how powerful he truly was, if he could really bypass a seal, if he sealed away his chakra. Hiruzen was against this though, not wanting to start anything, expecting Naruto to simply listen to his commands as a leader of Konoha. Your time is running out. I'll give you 5 more seconds and then we will see what happens, said Naruto, as he started to count down. That's enough, Hiruzen said, once again, as he stepped towards Naruto. You will not be leaving this village without my direct orders, and we will sort out this. However, Jiraiya made his move, because while Hiruzen was talking, Naruto was still counting. The envoys that protected Hiruzen all day at the time all showed themselves. Jiraiya slammed the seal in Naruto's back, as it spread over him, something that Hiruzen did not want. The seal was supposed to cut off access to his chakra, therefore making him incredibly weak. In the process also, weighing his body down. It was a 2-in-1 seal. A mimic gravity seal along with a restraining seal. Naruto did not even drop to his knees. He stood where he was. So they did not lie about your specialty in this area. However, an arm appeared on Naruto's side that turned the opposite way. Said arm started to glow. The arm simply poked the seal right in the center, and it undid it like a lock being clipped open. As Naruto unraveled himself, the Sannin was shocked. I'm sure that with time you have more powerful seals at your disposal, however, I assure you that none of them will work, as Naruto stepped face to face with Hiruzen. So your only option right now is to let me help in the invasion, because I want to fight the Sannin. There is no other reason. However, for me returning back here, the possibility is not looking so good. After all, I shall not be confined to one place. But you don't have to worry. I know that my parents were great people that protected this village with everything they have, including their life. So, if there is any opposition, any forces that wish to bring this village to its knees, I will be there. The Anvus had surrounded Naruto and Hiruzen at that point, refusing to let him leave under the Hokage orders, as Hiruzen was still firm in what he said. Naruto took a breath before he exhaled on the ground. Everyone, Jiraiya, Hiruzen, the Anvus, they all slammed into the wall as the pressure pushed them in it. Despite them actively trying to pull themselves out, the great force from Naruto's breath was enough to hold them there. Naruto stepped towards the window and opened it. As he stepped outside, the pressure relented as they immediately got up. However, Naruto jumped off the tower. I will be back during the great battle, said Naruto, as he was now floating on his cloud. The next moment, the cloud took off at blinding speeds, and he was gone, leaving them there, mostly Hiruzen questioning if they could even restrain him, and if they did, what would be the point? He would actively try to escape constantly, and that would just lead to a battle. As much as it seemed rather weak for him in his position to not be able to return one of his ninjas to his village, Naruto wasn't your average ninja. His power, strength, reaction time, speed was just on a completely different level. However, he did brought them valuable information that would save thousands of lives, and Hiruzen was going to use that. Time skip. Naruto was on his way, having received some intel. However, the moment Naruto came across the person that gave him said intel, he could tell that it was a lie. After all, his eyes could see beyond any deception, any illusion. However, Naruto frankly just did not care. The information he got was on Kisame. Maybe they want to lure him into some kind of trap. If that was the case, they must be planning something very dangerous. And he was excited to hear that. So he made his way towards a destination, looking for a fight. It was a forest. However, the location that he arrived, the place was pretty wide open and empty. The trees on the left and right. Walking through the forest, calmly clad in his armor, was Naruto, checking out the area. That is when he looked up as he saw someone descending from the heavens. It was a beautiful woman, possessing purple hair, an origami flower inside here, brown eyes. She was wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it, white outlining. She floated down with wings as she landed a distance away from him. However, it seemed to be all a distraction. The next moment, Naruto spun around and pulled his staff out. Kisame slammed down Samehata with a ridiculous amount of force. The ground underneath Naruto exploded, showing the amount of force that Kisame brought down. Yet Naruto's knees did not bend. What he did though was smile. A big happy smile. Your features match the description. Kisame, the tailless tailed beast, said Naruto. The shark man was surprised as Naruto simply pushed him away, showing that his strength was far greater than they thought. I see you as well, said Naruto. The third member of the group was Itachi Uchiha. Itachi was shocked, clad himself with genjutsu, and yet he saw him clearly. As Naruto was looking directly at him, his illusions could not fool Naruto's sight or eyes. Why does your face look so familiar to me? Ah yes, you're in the bingo book as well. As Naruto dived back in his memories, Itachi Uchiha, it seems we hail from the same village. You're from Konoha. It was Konoha that asked, as she raised a hand stopping Kisame from attacking once again. There were too many unknowns about this individual, that is why they decided not just to send the two of them alone, Konoha to provide extra support. Even if the enemy was strong, the three of them should be able to handle it. Yes, I am. And you are wanted by that village. However, I don't really care about that. What I do care about is, in your description they say that you're a prodigy amongst prodigy, one of the greatest Uchihas to ever exist, following someone, but I can't recall who that is. Perhaps his name was not fully there. But that means you are powerful. The both of you are, said Naruto. As for you, woman, I know nothing about your strength. But given that you're with them and you're all wearing the same clothing, tell me, are you people the Akatsuki? Konoha narrowed her gaze that he knew about them. I've heard whispers and rumors that there was this group of mercenaries, all of them S-rank status just like mine, said Naruto, looking rather excited the more he spoke. Konoha then speak. It is good that you know this much already. The Akatsuki is indeed a reality. Consists of S-rank members, and your recent insight within the elemental nation has caught our attention. That is why we've come to you with the interest of joining the organization, she said, in a formal and calm tone. Would I be the leader of this organization, Naruto asked. Kisame chuckled. No, isn't he one cocky shit? Of course not, he said. Well, my answer is no. Besides, I have a mission already, and it's to return that back to Kiri. And given your earlier attack, there is no way that you're willing to hand it over peacefully. No, is there, said Naruto, as he was still smiling. Kisame narrowed his eyes. So you were sent by Kiri, huh? Been a long time since I saw a hunter named from the village. Given what has been going on there, I thought they had the common sense not to send more people after me, knowing that it would only lead to more deaths. However, it seems they've gotten cocky, given your recent in doubt at the village, offering them your assistance. Ah, so you know about that, said Naruto. I see word travel fast in your organization. It's a shame, but I do not like to take orders from someone that does not equal me in strength. Those words, as calm and easy as they sound, angered Konoha, especially given your close relationship with the leader. Immediately, shurikens made from paper shot towards Naruto. It might seem like she was simply testing how fast he was. However, Naruto hit them with his staff. Normally, the papers would simply ricochet or fly away. However, when he hit them, they got torn into dust. They simply imploded upon themselves. The energy that circulated around his staff, the gold increases. One impact destroyed the chakra and It reduced the paper to nothing. Conan was surprised by that. Stay out of this, Kisame said. You too, Itachi. After all, he's after me. You seem like a betting man, Kisame said. After all, given your enjoyment of being surrounded by 3 powerful individuals, how about we make a bet? Oh? What's that? Said Naruto, a cheeky smile, always up for a little wager. If I bring you down, you join the organization, and if I win, said Naruto, I'll give you Samehata, Kisame said. After all, you're hunting me, and I don't like to be the prey. I'm always a predator, the biggest shark in the sea. That caused Naruto to chuckle. Given your anatomy, that is quite fitting. Yes, I accept these deals. You two stay out of this, Kisame said. He's mine. Immediately, Kisame shot forward and swiped. Samehata burst from the bandages as staff collided with blade. However, Samehata powerful scales that could tear through flesh and many other materials shattered upon making contact with Naruto's staff. The force was just not strong enough. Kisame flipped away. He was shocked. Samehata was in pain, however, the blade could heal itself as well. Kisame did not stop there as he sped through hand sign. He then spoke the words of his technique. Water style. Crushing calamity wave, he said. He spewed out a gigantic jet of water. It shot towards Naruto in a typhoon, racing towards him. Conan took to the sky, as Itachi took to the trees. Naruto smiled as he twirled his staff around him. He then lifted and brought it down, before the water met staff. A violent force erupted out, splitting the water like splitting the ocean. Kisame burst outwards, not expecting that, as a force had pushed him back. However, showing why he was a monster and deserving of his title, he was able to flip, dodge to the side as he arrived behind Naruto. He swung with a terrible amount of force. One would think that he was trying to kill Naruto. But Kisame was also getting amped up as well, also being one that enjoy a good battle. Once again, Naruto blocked. Samehata was the one that suffered the fate. However, Naruto and him twirled their weapons. Naruto showed that his expertise in weapon-style fighting was on a completely different level. Naruto knocked it and knocked Samehata from his grip, shocking him. Kisame's face saw the staff, but it was too late. His body plunged into the earth with a force that shook the surrounding area. Naruto wasn't done as he sent the staff into the earth and raised it, knocking Kisame into the heavens. Speed beyond eyesight, Naruto arrived above him and twirled and came down. The air shook violently. Kisame crashed into the earth. Conan was shocked. Not only was he able to disarm Kisame, a master swordsman, he overpowered him in strength pretty easily, it seems. Pain was right. His strength was not to be underestimated. He was something special, alright. Itachi was trying to recall who this person was, having no recollection of anyone like this within Konoha. Maybe he lied about where he was from, Itachi thought to himself. Samehata rushed to its master and started to feed him chakra, causing Kisame to erupt from the ground. Kisame's shirt and clothing was torn, and he was pissed. As Naruto was coming back down, he created a massive vortex of water that shot towards Naruto. Mega hungry sharks. They shot through the water at immaculate speed. Vicious, bloodthirsty beasts. Seeing them, Naruto stepped on the first one's head, destroying it. The second one whipped past him as Naruto gripped the base of its tail. He tore it into pieces. The third one jumped as Naruto pushed his staff directly through it. The last one was Kisame though, as he thrust his arm out, releasing a huge, powerful shock wave. The blast was violent, a compact of water and the energy of the sharks. As Naruto was dead center, there was no way that it could miss. However, Naruto simply grinned as a technique slammed into him with a ferocity unlike any other. Kisame wasn't done as he pulled every ounce of water down. Naruto and the water hit the ground. The entire forest floor. There was a violent eruption as the pressure decimated everything within sight. A blinding, ridiculous force crashing down on everything. It was horrendous and violent. Kisame landed down on top of the water, watching and waiting very carefully. Given the decent amount of strength that he showed earlier, that shouldn't be enough to kill him, Kisame thought. Konoha was angry that Kisame might have taken it too far, knowing that that was exactly his things most time, when he got angry, or when he enjoyed the battle a bit too much. Itachi on the other hand was simply watching very carefully, watching and studying this opponent, who he found rather intriguing. However, as the decimated area, showing that it created a massive trench that went deep down. As the water pooled up inside of it, there was a violent eruption. Not only the water but the ground was ripped apart as Naruto exploded out of it. The water dripping from his face is here. However, the smile on his face was one of pure glee. Let's see if you can handle your own technique, said Naruto. Kisame was confused by that when 100 sharks, the same exact sharks that Kisame just used, came from the hole. They jumped out of the water and attacked the shark man. Kisame ducked and swing and dodge. One of them ripping through his arm, tearing through his leg. He used Samehata to try and drain their chakra. However, whatever this was, this energy that created these beasts, it was not chakra, but the technique mimicked his to the perfect letter. Every aspect of the transformation, everything was perfect. By the time they were finished, Kisame was leaking. But once again, Samehata pulled off the feat to heal his master. But the problem was Samehata was not gaining enough chakra from this battle because Naruto was not releasing any. The energy that he used was not chakra. While it might seem to be a comparable energy, it was far more stronger, and it flew differently. A balance between chi and ki as well. A similar aspect of life force. The second problem was Naruto can simply refuse the blade absorption. By not allowing it to do that, having such a great control or mastery to pull back his own excess energy inside of his body, Kisame stood tall as he wasn't about to go down. Once again they rushed towards each other. They were tearing the entire forest apart. Kisame found himself getting ingrained in the battle. They swung. They ripped trees out of the ground. Naruto brought his staff down and wiped out half of the entire goddamn forest. He sent Kisame crashing, tearing a trench through the earth. Kisame knocked him down. Throughout it all, Naruto had a big smile on his face. The problem was, this is bad, Konoha said, as Itachi noticed as well. He's going to die. Itachi said plain and simple, and he wasn't speaking about Naruto. He was speaking about Kisame. It then clicked in Itachi's head who this was. The idea was there, however. Given how old he was, Itachi refused to believe it. But his name was Son Naruto. Granted, no one had checked upon the Jinchuriki at Konoha, but still, he couldn't be this old. However, that was the only person that he could think of at the moment. There was no one else that he could think of that was from the village. Not to mention with the same name as well. But his age. His age made absolutely no sense. That was a problem here. However, something the both of them noticed. He was not taking the fight seriously. He was laughing and smiling and enjoying a good time. And the big problem was blood. Kisame had drawn blood several times throughout this fight. However, Naruto has not bled not even once. Kisame punched and hit him, and yet he was not bleeding. His skin was extremely durable. Even the heavy attack did not break any bones. It did not crush him. His body was extremely durable to the point that there needs to be a constant, drastic force to take him down. Kisame found himself trapped in the center as Naruto plucked a hair and summoned a clone. That clone then summoned a clone, and that clone summoned a clone. Kisame was surrounded by 20. He looked around as he tried to outpace them, but when the first one slapped him with his staff and the second one crashed the staff in his stomach and the third one crashed the staff on his head, they started to beat the living daylight out of him. All of them came in and sent him into the heavens. Kisame looked up, and in that moment, he grinned. He was going to die. Every single clone and the original had their staff held up, and it was glowing. With the amount of force they were going to drop on him, they were going to crush his skull, wipe him from the face of the goddamn planet. And Kisame could only laugh, as this was a way that he always wanted to go out. However, there was numerous paper shurikens and a massive fireball followed by several miniature fireballs that target the clones and the original, giving Kisame a split second to get his bearings in. Kisame, despite being in agonizing pain, pulled off his most powerful technique as Samehata was within his grasp. Kisame summoned a large spear of water. He flooded the entire goddamn sky. The other two had to move back quickly. Konan taking high up, Itachi running as fast as he could. This was an extremely powerful technique, one of his strongest. Naruto allowed his clones to disappear as he stood in the water, completely fine. His body was blessed by water advanced charms that allowed him to survive in deep water without drowning. However, it rendered him incapable of flying. But he could still move perfectly, but he simply could not fly upwards. However, there was numerous ways he could still escape. However, that was not the intention to escape. Kisame fused with Samehata, becoming a new being entirely. Naruto dodged as he flew past him. "Ah, you're much faster," said Naruto as he spoke in the water bubble coming from his mouth. "I'm truly impressed by your speed." Kisame was upon him once again as Naruto blocked, using his forearm, taking the slash and the punches. Kisame spun and used his tail as he dropped it. However, Naruto blocked it before spinning him and launched him. He then rocketed down and kicked him right in the face as the bubble as well went down. Naruto smiled as Kisame recovered and flew towards him at blinding speed. His intention was to rip Naruto apart. It seems like he forgot about his mission to bring him in, because the amount of force that he was traveling with, he was going to rip him to shreds. However, Naruto uttered one word. "Grow," he said. Kisame was confused as Naruto was gone. Itachi was now in mid-air, held up by one of Konan's clones as she held his hand. It was a good thing, because if that hadn't happened, Itachi would have died. Kisame did not understand what was this. His vision was blocked. That is when he truly started to see what was going on. Kisame was inside of Naruto's palm. Yes, the massive spear of water was now resting in Naruto's hand. It was resting in his goddamn hand. Konan had to fly around the other side with Itachi, her clone, as she was close by as well. Because his body had taken up everything in the surrounding area. The entire forest was gone, and everything around it. Kisame was shocked, as he couldn't fathom to understand the size. His spear was gigantic, and yet Naruto held it like a droplet. This was impossible. This made no sense. Naruto clapped as he brought his other hand down. Itachi and Konan was sent sailing through the air. The force of his clap blew everything away. Naruto shrunk himself back down. As Kisame broken, form collapsed down. Just for a few seconds, he had a fragment of life remaining. However, his body then split with Samehata. Samehata tried to heal him, but it could no longer reform with him because there was nothing left inside of Kisame. The amount of force that Naruto hit him with simply crushed everything inside of him. The only reason why Samehata was still with us was because they were one. Naruto made his way over as Samehata, mourning of its master's death, lashed out. However, Naruto caught the scales and broke them. As he grabbed the blade, it tried to spike its scales out by its handle. Naruto clenched his fists though and squashed them. As he restrained the blade, Naruto plucked out a hair as it turned into a golden rope. He tied up the blade as he held it. It was unable to move. Naruto looked up as he saw Konan standing there. He smiled as he held his hand out, his staff returning back to him. However, her body disassembling papers, revealing that it was nothing but a clone, causing Naruto to scoff. As he looked down towards the blade that he had, he whistled as his cloud came flying in. Naruto jumped on top of it and took off. They felt it best that they did not pursue. They felt it best that they did not fight this opponent. The Akatsuki was already a man down. No need to make it 3. As they realized now that even if they came into this fully prepared, this literal monster possessed strength that was far beyond them, able to see through genjutsu like it was nothing, able to augment his size to the point that Kisame's spear that was so large became a droplet in his hand. If Konan did not think quickly, they would have both been dead. They would have both been reduced to nothing as well. However, they returned, checking on Kisame's corpse that was flat and broken. Nothing left, his brain was squashed, his heart was destroyed, and Samehata was taken. They have to report back in about their loss, something that she hated to do. However, this was something that the leader must know of. There was a threat out there that no one knew about, and this threat was so unbelievably powerful. It was shocking. Time skip. You seem surprised, said Naruto. I told you that I will fulfill your requests. You've seen what I can do. You still doubt my strength. No, that's not it. I just didn't expect you to return so early. I haven't prepared your feast yet. I can wait a few minutes, said Naruto. In reality, she was shocked. While she did underestimate him, the fact that he brought down all those people so easily and so quickly, it was frightening more than she thought. She needed to make sure that this guy never became an enemy of Kiri, and that she was working on as we speak. Time skip. The place was bustling with activities. People from all over. Seated was the Hokage and the Kazekage, discussing and speaking amongst one another. However, Hiruzen was fully aware who was under that. Hiruzen had to make a very careful move. Otherwise, many would have died. So he had to make a very careful move. He couldn't afford for the Sand Ninjas to give it away that Konoha knew what was going on, because Orochimaru would simply delay his plans, and his next attack would be in complete secret. So, it was just minutes ago that Baki was informed of what was going on. At first, the man obviously did not believe them, but the mere fact that they had this information and they knew what was going to happen caused him to realize that maybe they were onto something. After all, their Kazekage has been acting strange lately, and the mere fact that they were going up against Konoha, the sand and the sound, while they were two villages, Konoha might was so great. The man decided to make a strategic move by telling his people to pull out. However, he couldn't make it look like they knew, otherwise things might go more bad than they expected, as he had to make sure that everything was played out perfectly. The problem was Gaara, and a match was now taking place between Gaara and Sasuke Uchiha. The moment Gaara bled, the entire stadium felt fear. His scream of bloodlust was so terrifying. Orochimaru gave the signal as Kabuto activated the jutsu. Immediately, Baki started to bark out orders, telling the siblings to get Gaara out of here, which they started to do. Unfortunately though, Sasuke went after them, wanting to stop them as they broke the wall and made their way off. Baki was stopped as several sound ninjas started to attack him. In that very moment, Naruto landed within the market district of Konoha, jumping down off his cloud. As he looked around, today was a day if he was not mistaken. It seems like he was a bit late, he thought to himself. Naruto jumped into the sky, as his vision was able to see everything. He focused on the stadium before he kicked off in the air. There was a huge pressure of wind as he shot forward at incredible speed. It did not take him too long as Naruto landed right in the center. Looking around, he saw ninjas with a musical headband. That is when he saw the Sand Ninjas helping to fight them off. It seems like the Hokage got through to them. Naruto looked around as he saw the dome. In an instant, he stood on the roof, shocking a member of the Sound 4. It was the girl, her name was Tiawaya. Naruto reached out towards the dome only for the Anbu to shout at him to stop. As Naruto saw the ashes off one of the Anbus that touched said dome. Yet, Naruto placed his hand on it. He felt the power trying to destroy him, trying to burn him. However, Naruto's body was so tough and durable that it was failing, not to mention his charm for fire resistance was fighting it off pretty easily. As Naruto started to walk around the dome before, he pulled his staff out. The next moment, it elongated straight towards said dome and crashed through it like it was made of glass. His magical staff that was able to negate all type of chakra. A distance away on the other roof was a creature that emerged from the ground. The Akatsuki, after the recent attack, had now set their sights on Naruto, and Zetsu, their main spy, was currently watching Naruto. However, them believing that they could keep tracks on him or even control him by watching him from a far distance was the gravest mistake that they would ever make. Immediately, the members of the Sound 4 flared their chakra to fix the shattered part of the barrier. They cursed, as they knew that their master would be disappointed that another was able to step inside. However, they closed it before the Anvus could though. Naruto stepped as he jumped over a branch and jumped to another, There was many branches as he leaped, jumping like a monkey as he swung from one to another. When Naruto finally saw what was going on, Naruto raised his hand, freeze. Immediately, the first Hokage stopped in mid-air, unable to move as Naruto's staff whacked him with so much force his entire body crumbled. His chest caved in and burst open, ripping in half. Naruto was surprised though, as his eyes were able to see the line between death and alive. And Naruto knew that this person was not amongst the living. Hiruzen turned as he saw Naruto standing there. It seems I am late to the party, however. It's better to be here than not at all. Naruto twirled his staff. Behind you, Hiruzen said. The second Hokage, rushing in, a water blade to split Naruto in half. Naruto ducked underneath it, before he brought his fist upwards and snap. The man's head completely off. However, once again, the body was not destroyed. Naruto spun. Using a rather flexible movement, he crashed his heel into the chest of the second Hokage, destroying the chest cavity. Naruto's gaze swept over as he saw Orochimaru. There was a smile on his face. These two were not your average ninja. And now, their bodies were limitless. Their chakra was almost unending. Naruto reached up as he plucked a hair out. He blew on it. The next moment, a strange weapon appeared in his hand. It was a staff with a round top. The round top was glowing red. Naruto held it out, and it appeared outside of the dome. Shockingly, it appeared outside, but it was still in Naruto's hand. It seemed to be a reflection. It was a red light, showing a reflective color, as Naruto pointed towards Hiruzen. The next moment, Hiruzen was teleported outside, right where the red staff was, and it vanished. The envoys turned. Hokage-sama, they said, sounding shock. Orochimaru in rage. What have you done? He roared. I will be your opponent now, said Naruto. And try your best not to hold back. After all, if you do, this battle won't be as entertaining as I want it to be, said Naruto, as he twirled his staff before he slammed it on the roof and dropped into a stance. The Sannin was pissed off at having his chance of killing Hiruzen robbed away from him. As the reanimation thrust forward, the first Hokage flashing through hand sign and creating a massive eruption of trees and plants. The second building up an enormous amount of water as he started to surf on a goddamn water dragon. Naruto, with a big grin on his face, jumped right in. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.